Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
FightSaga.com presents WAWR Week Radio Chats with boxing scribe Joseph Herron.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday to everyone. And it's been a long time since I've done a WAWR Week Radio chat with all of you. Last night, we spoke to Coach James Gogi. What an awesome show that was. Guys, it's such an honor to be on the air with James Gogi, 5-decade fight trainer. Guy who has forgotten more about the sport than most of us will ever know, right? Most of us will ever learn. But tonight, guys, I wanted to talk about the return of Anthony Joshua, someone who is genuinely great for the health of the sport. One of boxing's top draws, one of the sport's biggest attractions, one of the biggest earners of the sport. He's going to be competing in London, England this Saturday during the day in the States. And yeah, he's one of the sport's biggest attractions. This is a very, very important event for the health of the sport. We're going to talk about him versus Franklin because Coach Gogi wasn't very familiar with Franklin. Well, we're going to size this up today. Does Jermaine Franklin, the dark horse, does he pose a serious threat to Anthony Joshua? Once again, this is the heavyweight division, but we'll go more into that in just a bit. And if Joshua is indeed successful, what's on the horizon for AJ? We'll talk all about that. Also, guys, it's been a minute since I've been on the air and spoken to all of you guys by myself. So we're going to touch on something that we haven't had the chance to talk about, and that's, well, Adrian Broner signing with Don King. We're also going to talk about, it was just announced, the price tag, the price point of Tank versus Garcia, and why that is, why it has been priced the way it is. We're going to talk about all the critics on Twitter. Are they justified in bellyaching about this price point? We're also going to talk about more. We'll dive in more regarding Benavidez versus Plant that just happened this Saturday. We're going to talk about Canelo's thoughts on all of this. We're going to talk about the prospect of Canelo possibly fighting him in September, or if he's going to go through with his, well, unwise rematch with Dimitri Bivol, the current WBA light heavyweight champion. Should he do that? Well, we're going to talk all about that. We're also going to talk about the prospect of maybe Dave Benavidez fighting Morrell Jr. and why that is a terrible idea for him at this time. Guys, so we're going to talk all about that. And if you'd like, once again, don't be Franklin, not much of an underdog. Well, I tell you what, we're going to get it. But if you guys have your headphones on, please, guys, don't leave me by my lonesome. Click on the link. Chop it up with me. It's been a while since I've spoken to all of you guys. So if you had your headphones on, please chop it up with me. If not, well, I'll be talking about everything. And once again, I love these shows because quite honestly, and I love conversing with James Gogi, but that's his show. Now, once again, you guys, I always voice my opinion, but it's very reserved because Gogi's the star of the show. And I always show my guests that courtesy, all right? As well as Coach Ronnie Shields, who's going to be on the show tomorrow evening. And yes, we're going to ask him about Dave Morrell Jr., the return of Jamal Charlo, what he thought about Benavidez versus Plant, how he feels about potentially a Benavidez versus Morrell fight. We're going to talk all about that tomorrow night, guys. I'm going to pick the brain of our beloved Coach Ronnie Shields, one of my brothers. He's one of my best friends in this business, in this brutal ass-beating business. We're going to talk all about that tomorrow night, but tonight it's just you and I. So, guys, if you have headphones, click the link, right? Well, first of all, let's say hello to some of our dear friends in the chat. Guys, you guys are a sight for sore eyes. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And once again, I really appreciate you supporting Coach Gogi as well as Coach Ronnie, as well as the entire channel and everything that we actually publish on this channel. WAWR Week Radio is here for you guys. So give a shout out to my brother Jesus M. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Saludos to you. Also, my brother Cali Fire. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, sir. Also, my brother Issy W.A.W. Glad to be with you all live. Good evening, Mr. Heron. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for being here this evening on a beautiful Monday. And Jesus, you say Franklin not much of an underdog. What do you actually mean by that? Do you actually mean that he should be, well, rated higher than he actually is, considered to be more of a live dog, or do you think he's just going to be there to get a paycheck? What say you, brother? Because when you look at the betting odds of Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin, well, and once again, guys, we like to always consult our favorite book, which is BetMGM out of Vegas. And most of you may be surprised to figure out what the odds are. When you look at the BetMGM, Anthony Joshua is only a 10-1 betting favorite, with Jermaine Franklin being a plus 600, a 6-1 betting underdog. Are you guys surprised about that? Want to give a shout out to my brother Antonio Luna. I hope you're doing well, my man. Love you, brother. Hope you're doing well in Southern California. Yeah, Franklin only plus 650, and the BetMGM, it's plus 600. 6-1, right? Let's talk about that, guys. Jermaine Franklin, once again, is someone I'm very familiar with, someone from Michigan, right? Very underrated heavyweight. Currently ranked only number 35 in the world. But he's got a fine record of 21 wins, 1 loss, 14 big wins coming by way of knockout. And his only loss was to Dillian White. And that was a majority decision loss, in which he gave the old man, Dillian White, well, everything he could handle in the ring. So how does he fare against an athletic specimen like Anthony Joshua? What do you guys think? Do you think he's going to pose some resistance, offer some resistance? I think, in my opinion, this was a perfect opponent for Anthony Joshua. Someone who actually earned some credibility in his last outing against Dillian White. But someone who really has no chance to defeat the once proclaimed phenom from the UK. And I'll tell you why. Once again, he's a solid guy. Very sound defensive-minded heavyweight. A guy who uses the shell defense. A guy who rolls away from shots very well. Doesn't have a lot of crack in his shot, but he puts his punches in combination together very well, going to the body and head. Right? So does he pose a legitimate threat to Anthony Joshua? No, and I'll tell you why. He cannot match the athletic gifts that Anthony Joshua has. And he does not punch hard enough I can't see him buzzing Anthony Joshua. Keep in mind, guys, Anthony Joshua is hungry once again. He feels slighted, and for good reason. After that second Usyk fight, boy, he really embarrassed himself in the center of the ring after the fight. Dumping Usyk's belts over the top rope, grabbing the mic, making that absurd speech post-fight. Not to say it made him look bad is an understatement. He appeared to be a buffoon, but most people gave him a pass. And why? Because he's always been a very classy athlete and a great ambassador for the sport of boxing. So everyone gave him a pass. Guarantee you, if anyone else did that, hell no, they would have lambasted him. Nonetheless, it was embarrassing. Anthony Joshua admits it as well. And he even understands why certain people in the media have been criticizing for it ever since. Right? It's understandable. He looked like a buffoon. He looked like a sore loser, like an entitled bitch. But look, I'm willing to give him a pass. He's always been a great ambassador for the sport. I actually like Anthony Joshua. He is great for the health of the sport. And why? Because he's a good guy. He seems like a genuinely good guy. Always, aside from that hiccup post-fight, he's always been a very good ambassador for the sport and always a very, very good sport in the ring, win or lose. I want to give a shout out to my brother, Sly Tendencies. How you doing, my man? Thank you for joining us. And he says, Fury batters Joshua. Well, guys, we're going to touch on that later because even though he's been criticized by Anthony Joshua as well as Eddie Hearn for the Usyk super fight collapsing, guys, don't be shocked if that fight is finally made for this summer in Saudi Arabia. Don't be shocked, and I'll explain why. But I'll tell you why Jermaine Franklin is going to get knocked out in this fight. Usually a very durable guy, and Jermaine Franklin, if you're familiar with his career, right? And I've been kind of a fan of his. He's a great guy, very soft-spoken, takes care of his business in the ring sometimes. Jermaine Franklin, guys, if you're familiar with his career, he's a guy who's hot and cold. He sometimes shows up to the ring motivated, and he looks great. Sound defensive fighter. Not a lot of crack in his shot, but he throws in combination. Very busy heavyweight. And if you look at the numbers in his last fight, he outworked Dillian White, right? Want to give a shout out to my brother G Funky. Thank you for joining us, sir. And guys, if you haven't already, please go subscribe to my brother G Funky. But guys, Jermaine Franklin is a solid heavyweight. And I'm actually surprised he's still only ranked number 35 after his last showing against Dillian White. But there's a reason for that. One, he doesn't have a lot of crack in his shot. He's not going to hurt Anthony Joshua. What he does, though, and this is why he was chosen as an opponent, and I guarantee you is going to be stopped in this manner in the early to mid rounds, right? What he does is he works behind the shell, and he has a bad habit of turning his head whenever someone stuffs a jab in his face. Instead of actually moving his head from left to right to avoid incoming, he will sit back, lean back, and turn his head all the way to the side where he doesn't see the right hand coming from behind. coming right behind it. See, Anthony Joshua is going to stuff that jab in his face. And as soon as he sees that head turned, he's going to launch that missile of a right hand right behind it. And unfortunately, poor Jermaine Franklin will never see it coming. And it's going to buzz him. And Anthony Joshua is going to close the show in style. And he's going to look like the world beater again. You're going to see all of his athletic gifts on display. The footwork, the athleticism, the quick hands, the jab, the heavy hands, right? That's how he's going to get knocked out, guys. I guarantee it. And after the fight, boy, he's gonna appear to be back in full form. And if you think he's gonna go back after a third fight with Alexander Usyk, you're sadly mistaken. Guys, I'm here to tell you, don't be shocked if Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn put together a super fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury for this summer in Saudi Arabia. Even after all the criticism that Hearn and Joshua just laid on Team Fury. Oh, yeah, man, it's ridiculous. Negotiated with him, it's a nightmare. This guy, boy, he's become a diva, completely unreasonable with his demands, always wanting the lion's share of the purse. He's not going to be that way. And he's going to play nice with Team Joshua. Basically, despite Alexander Usyk. He's going to do it to spite everybody. And it's going to be made for this summer. Saudi Arabia, with both men earning $75 million apiece. And I'll explain why. And once again, guys, if you are being fair and if you're not being biased and don't carry around this hatred of Tyson Fury like luggage, if you're honest with yourself, well, you can admit that both men were at fault in the collapse of Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. And I'll explain why as soon as I introduce my brother, Mr. Tony Manzano. Welcome to the program, sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Joe, honestly, this whole Tyson Fury and Usyk situation, I blame both of them, but also the fact that these two fighters aren't. Tyson Fury is very super popular in Britain, but I don't think American fans, like the general American boxing audience, really knows who he is. Really.
Oh, you talking about Alexander Usyk?
No, Tyson Fury too. Like
no. Everyone is familiar with Tyson Fury after his stint with WWE, as well as his final two fights with Deontay Wilder. He scored a big hit, and he's a much bigger ticket seller. Well, put it this way: in the heavyweight division, he's the biggest ticket seller in the heavyweight division in America.
Oh, my mistake.
By
I meant
far.
to say Usyk. I said Usyk.
Oh, yeah. Usyk, he's a virtual unknown in the States. No one knows who the hell he is. He's only competed once. I will tell you why I blame him as well as Tyson Fury. Once, let's go from the beginning. All right, so let's just get this out of the way. Okay, Tyson Fury, he saw that they, made a deal with Alexander Usyk, guaranteeing him an X amount of dollars. Tyson Fury saw that and said, you know what? No way in Hades is this non-ticket seller going to make as much as I am. So I'm going to price myself out of this deal, and I'm going to ask for 3 times the amount, from what I understand. And that collapsed the deal. Right off the bat, Tyson Fury is to blame for this fight not taking place in Saudi Arabia. And while most Tyson Fury haters and critics who just love to hate on Tyson Fury, they completely discounted everything that Frank Warren stated post-fight. And I'll tell you why they shouldn't, because he's right on the money. When he said, you know what, after the Saudi deal collapsed, they saw the numbers that were projected. They weren't happy with the money. And they had no desire, no serious interest in making this deal a reality. Because when you consider, now once again, and a lot of people point to, well, when have you ever seen Usyk and Igas Klimas and his entire team tank a deal? Ever. Well, when have you ever heard of Usyk making that much money before the second Joshua fight? He had never made that kind of money. Once again, keep in mind, brother, he was the B-side to Derek Chisora during COVID. He was the B-side. He was the B-side in the first Anthony Joshua fight. And even though he was the B-side in the second Anthony Joshua fight monetarily, they negotiated a 50-50 split. Do you realize how much money Alexander Usyk made in his last fight?
I'm guessing 25 million.
More than that, sir. From what I understand, it was in excess of $50 million. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Guys, now, once again, I don't care who you are as a fighter. When you make that kind of money, it changes you. Do you really think Team Usyk believed they were the B-side after making that kind of money?
No.
In Saudi Arabia after one fight? No. I believe exactly what Frank Warren believes. After the deal was soured in Saudi, and when they had to move it to Wembley, I truly believe he had no intention of seriously making that fight happen. Because when you look at why this was soured, why this deal ultimately collapsed, why would you walk out of a deal based on a rematch clause? That's bullshit. No one collapses a deal based on a rematch clause. That's horseshit. That may be a moot point. That's dog shit, in my opinion. And once again, when have you ever seen Igas Klimas, as well as Team Usyk, air out negotiations to the media?
Never. I don't think so.
It was all public perception. That's exactly why they did it. And now, boy, he's got to deal with the money, the little money in comparison, generated by a potential fight with Daniel Dubois. Do you see that fight coming to fruition? Boy, that's going to be like drips and drabs compared to the money he just made with Anthony Joshua. Guys, think, in my opinion, Tyson Fury, once again, think about the prospect of this fight taking place. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. With all the criticism that Hearn and Joshua have thrown at Tyson Fury, they're still going to be willing to make this fight. And why? Because Tyson Fury is a top earner of the sport. He's one of the biggest draws of the sport. And in England, him fighting Anthony Joshua will be the purging of everything. That's going to be
Joe,
like Mayweather
Pacquiao.
Hold on. That's going to be like Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. of the UK.
Wow.
That's going to be a huge blockbuster, bigger than the fight with Deontay Wilder, bigger than the third fight between Joshua and Usyk, bigger than a fight between Fury and Usyk. That's going to crush every single box office record in the UK prior to this. Guys, it's my pleasure to introduce my brother, the boxing source, Big James. How you doing, my friend?
Yo, what's going on?
Yeah, no, and I understand.
How you doing, brother James? It's good to see you, man.
All good. Just checking in here with the boxing talk.
So before I ask you a couple questions, my friend, Tony, what's on your mind? What say you about this entire situation, brother?
Honestly, as a casual boxing fan, as a person who doesn't watch boxing, this pisses me off that this fight isn't happening. It was gonna be a great fight, but I can see where Tyson Fury is coming from. That he saw what Usyk was gonna make, and that's why he backed out. But just Tyson Fury has the right to feel the way he is with asking. He should.
Well, look, Tony, look, man. This is why I will die on this hill, stating that both men are to blame. Once again, guys, this is what you get, and I have no dog in the hunt. I couldn't care less, but I do know the business of boxing. Okay, this is what happens, and I profess this all the time. When you feed a fighter an inflated purse, this is what you get. You create a diva. Just ask Bud Crawford. Okay, this is what you get. You look at Tyson Fury, the inflated purses he's received up to this point. You look at the $55 million he received for the 2 fights with Deontay Wilder. You look at the $31 million he just made with Dillian White. And you mean to tell me after that he's going to be fine getting 50-50 with a guy like Alexander Usyk, who couldn't sell out my living room on a Saturday night? A guy who's never been the A side, never been a ticket seller? Are you kidding me?
Mm-mm.
Keep in mind, guys, he was the B side to Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora made more money than he did when they fought. And once again, my brother Sid UK has the beat. And he said Usyk can fight Dubois for $25,000 and then fight Filip Hrgović for the king's ransom of $50,000. After that, he can risk fighting Wilder for a good sum or come back to negotiate against Fury like a good boy. That's right. Guys, if you think Tyson Fury is the only prize fighter in this scenario with an inflated sense of worth, you're high on crack. When you look at how much he earned in Saudi Arabia fighting Joshua a second time, his sense of market value has been skewed. He also has an inflated sense of worth. And he completely blames Tyson Fury for the justifiably so, for the Saudi deal collapsing. You've got 2 divas trying to negotiate. This is what happens. This is what you get. This is Spence Crawford all over again. That's what you get. James, your thoughts on all of this?
Usyk, you little middleweight. You don't have the guts to take the Gypsy King.
Oh, you ugly little man. You ugly little middleweight. You gap-toothed little scrawny bastard.
You bloody shit bastard. Like...
Dude, this is what you get. This is what you get. And once again, who's he going to fight? Who's Tyson Fury going to fight? Joe Joyce?
Nope.
For a fraction of what he could make with Anthony Joshua?
Nope.
Guys, think.
Or a fourth
Guys,
fight,
this is going to be
fight.
this. Look, if Joshua, I shouldn't say if, when he knocks out Jermaine Franklin this Saturday, and once again, I love Jermaine Franklin. He's a great guy. A very soft-spoken, very humble, hardworking guy. And he's got skills. Very savvy, defensive-minded fighter. Guys, before I go any further, let me give a shout-out to my brother, Bruce, Gas Boxing, Jazz and More. Salute to you, my friend. And hey, brother, Coach Gogi. He would love to be on your show, and he's going to give you a call later this week. So, guys, that's something to look forward to. Can you imagine Bruce and my man, Coach Gogi, chopping it up, analyzing a classic time capsule fight on Bruce's channel?
Well, maybe you won't get as many F-bombs on that particular channel.
Boy, you sure will. Gogi has no, like he doesn't know any other
filter.
way to talk.
Gogi
No. And look, guys, to his defense, most trainers are that way.
Right.
Like Emmanuel Stewart, the late great Emmanuel Stewart, dear friend of mine, and I'm so honor to have worked with him for several years before his passing, right? Everything out of Emmanuel's mouth was MF in it. It wasn't just an F-bomb, it was MF.
Well, was Dundee
He called
like that?
everyone. He called everyone an MF. He called me an MF all the time, just in conversation, right? He didn't mean it as an insult. He didn't mean it as a slide. Sometimes he did, but he called everyone an MF.
Was Angelo Dundee like that too?
Oh gosh, everyone was like that. Every trainer is like that, except for my man Joe Goosen.
Goosen's clean? That's
no. Goosen is a gentleman. Goosen is a gentleman.
That's surprising.
Honestly, I've never heard him have a filthy mouth ever. Guys, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show for the first time my brother Jimmy. It's been a minute, Jimbo. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, Joe. Hope you guys are doing well. I salute. I still try and catch a show whenever I can. It's good to see you going live. I saw the link and I thought, I'll jump up and cook with you guys.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you being on here. So once again, man, we're just talking about the collapse of, we're sizing up Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin this Saturday. Are you excited to see the return of AJ? I honestly, I love AJ. I've always been a fan of AJ. I think he's great for the health of the sport.
Yep.
And this is a big, big event. And I can't stand it how people are trying to kind of downsize this event because it's against Jermaine Franklin. But make no mistake about it, guys. This is a big event for the health of boxing. Your thoughts on this, Jimbo?
Yeah, mate, 100% I agree with you. I think Anthony Joshua is one of the few true superstars that boxing has, that brings out he's got the kind of crossover effect that guys like Canelo, guys like Tyson Fury, that type of group. So I think it's good for boxing, the more superstars we have for the health of the sport. And we've only got a couple of them, so it's not like we've got a lot to choose from. I think it's a good comeback opponent for Joshua, who is coming off of 2 losses on the bounce. Jermaine Franklin, he's got a good record and he put on a really good performance against Dylan White. A lot of people actually thought he won the fight. So I
thought it was a draw. I scored it a draw. How did you score that fight?
To be honest, I didn't score at the time, but I agree with you, a draw or either way. But he proved himself that Dylan White is still considered the top 10 guy, and he should look really good. I think fans are being a little harsh because the guy is coming off of 2 losses, and it's not a world title.
Look, and you know what? I don't understand that shit at all. You want to see the best. Well, you know what? Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. And is there any shame in losing to an all-time great? And yes, I said it, an all-time great like the gap tooth Alexander Usyk.
No, there's no shame at all. He's
no shame at all. This guy is a stud, and he's a winner. This guy has the mindset of an all-time great winner, like our heroes of the past, like B-Hop had the mindset of a winner. De La Hoya, the mindset of a winner. Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. They had the mindset of a winner. Alexander Usyk is cut from that same cloth, guys. He has the mindset, and he's a proven winner.
See, Joe, and this is where I get in arguments with a lot of people, like a lot of my friends who are watch boxing more than I do, and they don't really give Usyk a ton of credit because they never really saw the cruiserweight division that he fought in before he became a heavyweight and stuff like that. So they really don't give him enough credit because of the cruiserweight division not being very popular in the United States and stuff like that. Can you blame American fans for thinking like that, or is that just ignorance, willful ignorance?
Oh, well, of course it's ignorance, but you can't blame him, man, because he's only fought once in the United States. But do you remember, Jimbo? I think you were on this panel. Do you remember a long time ago, before the first Anthony Joshua Usyk fight, I was on Lady Chan's channel, right? And do you remember me telling everyone, guys, this is going to be a very difficult fight for Anthony Joshua, a pocket counterpuncher. He's going to be frozen from start to finish. He's not going to know when to let his hands go. And this is going to be a very frustrating fight for all of you Anthony Joshua fans. Do you remember me saying that? And do you remember how poorly I was treated after that? Oh, Joseph, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, do you want this, Joe? I remember 2 of your predictions, massive predictions that were very unpopular. Canelo losing to Bivol, and Usyk upsetting Joshua. So
yep. And guys, once again, I was right on both. And here's why. Guys, I love all of these fighters. I have respect for all these fighters. I'm not a pom-pom waver. I.e., I can look at these things clearly. Okay? And look, guys, in case you're wondering what kind of fighter Jermaine Franklin is, guys, go check out my man's interview. James from the Boxing Source. Go check out his interview with Jermaine Franklin. Very well done. And James, your thoughts, brother. Picking the brain of Jermaine Franklin, what did you get from that interview, brother?
I got that, he was, in a mindset to prepare for this particular fight, but at the same time, I think that he was, dealing with some other things outside of the ring. And, given what I'm kind of like hearing out in the news sphere, is that, he was able to get in position to get into this fight, but the let's just say the back, the behind the scenes dealings weren't all 100 for him, before this fight takes place. So it's going to be interesting to see like what his mind state is going to be going into this particular fight. And
oh boy,
that I know the person that he was talking about very well, as I've interviewed that particular person multiple times.
Yep.
So yes, Franklin was able to get into position to have this fight, but after that, it kind of, things kind of, fell off by the wayside. But like you said, in reference to this fight in general, yes, this is a big fight. In reference to Anthony Joshua, like you have him and you have Canelo Alvarez as the guys that in the sport of boxing, no matter who they fight, they really garner the interest of, the fans, regardless of who they fought. Until, Joshua fought Usyk, and in that particular instance, you're going up against a guy in Usyk that is a southpaw that has more overall experience than you do from an amateur standpoint and from a professional standpoint. This is not like, Joshua fighting Povetkin. Yes, there were 2 gold medalists, but Povetkin was at a different stage in his career. Okay.
Yep.
You're going up against Alexander Usyk, who has faced every single style of fighting up to that particular point.
That's it. Yep.
Pro and pro. So for Joshua to lose to Usyk on 2 occasions, no, that shouldn't really surprise that many people, given where Joshua is at his particular point in his professional career in comparison to Usyk. But now here he is in his second form, and if he gets through Jermaine Franklin, then we'll see, what they have for him next, because, people would still want to see those fights between him and Tyson Fury, or him against Deontay Wilder.
Well, I can guarantee you that, guys, buckle up. Joshua versus Fury will become a stark reality this summer in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it's going to completely just befuddle all of the critics who are blaming all of this shit on Tyson Fury. Wait a minute. Why are they going to negotiate with him? They just talked a lot of mess. That Tyson Fury is impossible to negotiate. Wait a minute. And they strike a deal with him with the Saudis? Guys, this is going to happen. Yeah. This is the biggest fight that you can make.
I tell you
in boxing. Joshua versus Fury is the blockbuster to shatter all records of any pay-per-view in the UK, around the world. It is the Pacquiao Mayweather outside of the US.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Before we go any further, Jimbo, I want to get your thoughts on a couple things, but I do have to give a shout out to my brother Tycho TV. And yes, he's correct. Love you, Tycho. Thank you for joining us, sir. He says the coach holds nothing back. Salute to you, my man. Thank you for recognizing.
Those motherfuckers.
And guys, in case you missed his assessment of Benavidez versus Plant, it's still on my channel. You can go check that out, and I appreciate it. Guys, also want to give a big shout out to my brother Peter Von Arx. Good evening to you, my friend. And he says this. He goes, Joseph, you and I were on Lady Chan that night, and I said the same thing. It didn't go over well. No. Brother, she's a card-carrying member of the Anthony Joshua fan club. And she is thirsty as hell whenever his name just pops up. So, yes, I made that bold prediction. Obviously not so bold in retrospect, but it wasn't perceived very well. I was basically booed off her channel. Right?
Oh, me too. Me too. You know, she's a very powerful personality, to say the least, right? A very strong personality. You know, it's I think I was defending Tyson Fury in something. And that did not go over well. So she is definitely a very strong-willed individual.
Jimbo, what is your prediction? Because we're going to move on from this. We've already spent 40 minutes. But what is your prediction for this Saturday night's main event from the O2 Arena in London? Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin.
I think Joshua's going to show up, and I think he's going to show out. I think he's put on a really good performance, and I think he'll stop Jermaine Franklin probably within 6 to 8 rounds, I'd say, because it's like you said, so much. This is right now the most important fight of Anthony Joshua's career. Yes, he's still one of the biggest superstars in the combat sports world, and he's still one of the hottest ticket sellers in sports, but he can't afford another loss in a row, because I feel like his market value and his commercial appeal and even his legacy, I just don't know where he'd go from here. It's like you said, you've got a mega fight, you know, probably the biggest fight in the history of British boxing with Tyson Fury, of European boxing, you know, with Tyson Fury. You know, you've got potential fights with a Deontay Wilder, a Joe Joyce. You've got, you know, for a guy coming off of 2 losses, he's actually got a lot of options, though.
Of course, just like Canelo, even though he lost, and he lost in a very bad manner. He got owned by Dimitri Bivol, but it didn't matter. He's the big ticket seller. He's the cash cow. He still makes the rules. Now, once again, guys, here it comes. This is why Usyk had an inflated sense of worth. Now, Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol. Do you think Canelo Alvarez is going to give him 50-50 treatment?
Hell no.
Hell no. So why did Anthony Joshua give Usyk 50-50 treatment in Saudi?
Because
again, that blew up his sense of market value. This is the real reason why, well, you got 2 divas trying to negotiate. This is why this fell apart. This is Spence Crawford all over again. And anyone who doesn't recognize Usyk for being another fly in the ointment is high on crack. That's it.
George, you know what it is? I think the general feeling in the media and among fans and a lot of Tyson Fury supporters, are you surprised how quickly they've turned on him? Because a lot of people, not only in the UK, but
I'm not, because once again, he's a polarizing character. This is a guy, you'll either love him or hate him. Honestly, I'm in the business. I couldn't care less. He's a fighter, and he's great for the sport. He's got the gift of gab. He's a promotional machine. Okay, as a promoter, he is your wet dream. This is a guy you just put him in front of a microphone and he just goes. Right? If you're Frank Warren, you love this guy. But he's such a polarizing character because of everything that comes out of his mouth. All the hypocrisy, all the all of the bullshit. Right?
Little
So this is a guy you either love to hate or love to love. And so no, I'm not surprised at all.
See, this is the problem that I see with Tyson Fury. He fought a guy like Derek Chisora, a fight nobody wanted. He was paid it was rumored over $20 million or 25 or whatever it was.
And guess what? It was a sellout.
Yeah, I feel like if you're in that situation, I just think from a risk reward perspective, okay, if you fight Usyk, you'd probably get 30 plus million, whatever it is. But just from a business perspective, if you can make 25 million against guys like Chisora, Manuel Jar, you know, some people would fight twice a year and make, you know, whatever you'd make against Usyk. Just from like a business perspective, because
once again, you look at Tyson Fury. Yeah, he's going to make good money no matter who he squares off with against in the ring, right? How's Alexander Usyk looking in that same situation?
Not so good.
How much does he make fighting Daniel Dubois? How much does he make fighting Filip Brgovic?
A few million if he's lucky.
Bean and cheese money, brother. He makes bean and cheese money.
Bean and cheese money, but here's the other thing, right? Who's going to host that fight?
Exactly. Where do you put it? Where does it make sense? Look, honestly, if you pit him against Daniel Dubois, I know Usyk has 3 of the titles, but once again, ask Guillermo Rigondeaux. Titles don't mean shit when you're looking at market value. Okay? Daniel Dubois is the bigger ticket seller. If you stage that fight anywhere, you have to stage it where it makes sense. In the UK, where Daniel Dubois is the draw. Alexander Usyk is a man without a home. Yet he wants 50-50 treatment? Shit.
I think this is where the confusion is coming. A lot of fans, when they saw the 2 Joshua fights, they saw these massive mega events and, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars in between the fights, right? So this is why they think that Usyk, when he fought the first fight in the UK, a sold-out stadium, massive pay-per-view numbers. In the rematch, the Saudis put up a check of $100+ million. That's why a lot of fans are like, Usyk's been involved in these 2 mega events. But I think a lot of fans forget that the reason why they were mega events was because of Anthony Joshua, not.
You know, I actually had fans telling me, "Oh well, Usyk, he's been a part of much bigger pay-per-view events than Tyson Fury," and I'm like, "Well, do you think that was because of him?"
Yeah, I mean, it's I think if Anthony Joshua fought Fury, I mean, it's not fair to compare a dance partner like Chisora to a dance partner like Joshua, though, is it? So, I think see a lot of
for you. Who was the draw for Alexander Usyk versus Tony Bellew?
Tony Bellew.
Oh shit! Yeah, look, guys. Alexander Usyk has been a man without a home for a very long time. Okay, look, he is a great fighter. One of the best, arguably the best pound for pound fighter in boxing at this time.
Yep.
Does that say anything about his market value? No. Guys, here's a lesson in the business of boxing. You've got to separate the 2.
Yep.
Okay, your boxing accreditations doesn't mean shit when determining your market value. It's your ability to sell tickets. That's it. Your ability to sell pay-per-views. That's it. And if Usyk thinks, and if his people think that they sold over 1 million pay-per-views in the UK because of him, okay, they're high on crack. So they're carrying around that inflated sense of worth going into the Tyson Fury negotiation. Yeah. And you mean to tell me that this was all Fury's fault? The reason why this negotiation collapsed.
No, I was on an argument with a fan when he was telling me, "Oh, look at Usyk's last pay-per-view. It did 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. Fury's last pay-per-view did 500,000 or whatever it was." And I said, "Yeah, bro, but that's because he was fighting Anthony Joshua. That's the reason why he did those numbers." But see, my thing is this: though, I kind of understand and sympathize with Usyk a little bit because he is a 3-bout unified champion. He is a Hall of Famer.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. You know, Jimbo, my apologies. I don't mean to cut you off, my friend. I just have to say hello to a couple of good friends of mine in the chat. Give a shout out to my brother, Toby Bartlett. Thank you for joining us, sir. Listening to us in the UK. God bless you, brother. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday evening. Also want to give a shout out to my brother, Coco the Bulldog. Salute to you, my brother. Thank you for joining us, sir. Also want to give a shout out to my brother, Punchy, Sweet Amber. You know what? On that note, guys, and you know what? I was giving it up. I was a good boy for Lent for a while.
Yeah.
But guys, I've broken up the Sweet Amber just for this occasion. Here's to you, James. Here's to you, Jimbo. Love you guys. I love our beloved boxing. God bless you guys, and thank you for joining me on this Monday evening. I love to chop it up with you guys. Here's to you guys. Real men of genius. Down the hatch. Sweet Amber like a bitch.
Nothing beats a classic, right?
Put 3 red flags on there, though, so I don't know, man.
Woo! And give a big shout out to my brother, Big Luke. He says, Lady Cleavage? Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, shit.
No.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, my brother, Luke, he goes, yep, we'll all be eating bean and cheese soon. Well, as long as Joe Biden is president of the United States, sure.
Hey,
did I just say that out loud? I want to give a shout out to also my brother Premium Bukaki. What a terrible name you have, man, on YouTube.
Listen,
God bless you, brother. Though, salute to you. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry, James, as you were.
No, I was saying, what's the dude from the Fed? Is what he's been talking about the past couple weeks?
No, Chingao.
Yeah, we might be.
Yeah, we're not in a recession, even though several financial institutions have collapsed in the United States. We're not going to get into that, guys. And once again, this is not a political forum. Far from it. Unless you want to talk about boxing some more. That's as far as the political goes.
Hey, Joe, right? I have a question though.
Yes, sir.
Fury, right?
Yep.
Did you listen to the comments from Sugar Hill Stewart?
I sure did.
What did you think about what he was saying?
What did he say?
Well, once again, this isn't the first time that Tyson Fury has only taken a 4-week camp to prepare for anybody. And once again, just and keep in mind, guys, Sugar is one of my best friends in this business. I got to know him on a personal level when I was working with Emmanuel. And he's still one of my best friends in this business. We talk all the time. Okay? He was just being truthful. And in his mind, he was like, I knew that this fight wasn't going to happen. I knew it. Yeah. And if everyone thinks that this was Tyson's doing, well, they're not looking at both sides of the equation. Okay? So that's Sugar. Sugar is a straight shooter. Okay? He was being truthful to the media saying, you know what? I knew this fight wasn't going to happen. I was in town for freaking Slowpoke Oakley. Yep. That's it.
Oh God, that was
and
terrible,
so and so speaking of which, is he not the Guillermo Rigondeaux of the cruiserweight division?
He's the Guillermo Rigondeaux.
I'll be honest.
Holy shit!
Holy
shit! I think I'd rather watch paint dry.
Yeah, I think I'd rather watch Rigondeaux than him, to be honest.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I think you're right. I think I would rather watch Rigo instead of Oakley. Holy shit! Sky Sports, what have you done?
Yeah, they signed a massive contract with him.
That, you know what? That is worse because, you know, with Rigondeaux, he's at a much lower weight class. So you expect something from like somebody like Rigondeaux, not like a guy that's really cruiserweight.
No, this was really bad though, because this was his big showcase fight on Sky Sports, which is kind of like ESPN of Europe, right? The UK, sorry. And for him to come out and perform like this, especially when he was complaining that on the zone he wasn't getting paid enough. Bro, I don't know how much they paid you, but according to Eddie Hearn, he's never made a profit.
Holy shit! Eddie Hearn looked like a genius, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't want to match.
My word. That was abysmal. That was like watching grass grow. Holy really shit. And Sid UK has the beat. I'd rather watch a woman's fight. As long as it's one of the better looking ones. Yes, that's a sexist remark, but I'll stand by that.
Yeah, I'd
Holy shnikes. Holy shnikes. That was miserable. Like, dude, how can you feel good about that if you're Sky Sports?
They had to give tickets away though, Joe. No one even showed up. They literally were giving away thousands of tickets.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. Yep. Tell you what, they don't have shit on Al. Dude, Al Heyman doesn't have shit on that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look, and I will say this, guys, and once again, if you're being fair and if you're being unbiased, how do those channels look now? Right now, the ones that love to hate on Al Heyman and PBC.
Yeah.
After Plant versus Benavidez, how are they looking now?
No, they look really bad though. I thought that was a great card, a good fight, and they had a big crowd in Vegas. You know, they were doing big numbers.
Phenomenal card, guys. That was the best card of the year thus far. That was the best event of the year thus far. And guess what?
Yeah,
they've got another one coming up in a month. Yep. Tank versus Garcia. Yep. Guys, you may love to hate yourself some Al Heyman, but I hate to say this, and I've been saying this now for a year. Since they've been working with Tom Brown, the product has gotten exponentially better.
Yeah.
Guys, you can't complain. Al Heyman is now listening to a very wise boxing guy like Tom Brown, and the product has much improved. Say what you want. It's kicking everyone's ass right now. Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, even, dare I say, Bob Arum. Al is kicking your ass right now, guys. Do something about it. Do something about it. The boxing fans are only going to benefit from it. Hallelujah. And guys, look, let me go down the schedule right now. This is a great time to be a boxing fan. And to those guys who are belly aching about Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk falling apart, shame on you. Guys, we just had Benavidez versus Plant. Awesome. Now we've got Joshua versus Franklin. Big event. Then we've got Bam Rodriguez versus Christian Gonzalez. Then we've got Joe Joyce versus Zhilei Zhang. Then we've got Tank versus Ryan.
Yep.
Then we've got Stanionis versus Ortiz.
Yep.
And then we've got Haney versus Lomachenko, which is going to be officially announced tomorrow, from what I've been told.
Yep.
Guys, this is a great time to be a fan. Don't sulk. Don't bellyache on Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk falling apart. Celebrate. Celebrate our beloved boxing. This is a great time to be a fight fan.
Joe, we got a Newey versus Fulton as well. Wants to reschedule that.
Yeah, that's going to be in May, and I can't wait. That's a great event.
Well, they're going to reschedule it to.
And you know what, James? Can I say this now, guys? In July or in June? In June, we're going to get Crawford versus Spence. Oh, am I letting the cat out of the bag?
Oh,
we're going to get it, brother. We're going to get it. Crawford versus Spence in June. Woo! Guys, and this is no fabrication. I've been told by a very reliable source, and James, you know who this is. Someone who's not saying anything to the media, but I've been told, yep, it's a done deal. Crawford versus Spence happening in June. How do you like that?
That will be something to see, you know. A lot of fans have been waiting a very long time for that fight, and me personally, at one point, I thought it'd never happen. So
listen to this. Listen to this. And yeah, I'd all but given up on this as well. Listen to this.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Listen to this. Bud versus Errol in June? The hell you say? Yes. Take it to the bank, my friend.
Yeah, like the meeting.
Take it to the bank, brother.
If y'all have followed Joe, you know, over the past 6+ months or so, or if you've caught him on,
I gave up on it. I gave up.
He gave up on it. Completely gave up on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think you know, the trial run by Mr. Crawford kind of made him come to his senses a little bit. So,
well, I'll tell you what did it. I'll tell you what did it. It. From what I've been told, it was the shit money that Golden Boy was offering him for his 2 shit fights, right? With Alexis Rocha and Virgil Ortiz. He saw the offer that was given to him, and he's like, you know what? Fuck this. Steven, hey, can we talk? Can we talk now? That's what did it, right?
Yeah.
The dismal numbers that its BLK Prime showing did on pay-per-view. A dismal failure, right? And then the dismal numbers that Golden Boy was offering him. He's like, fuck this. Okay, pardon my French, guys. Screw this, right? I'm willing to play ball now because this, I might as well retire. So, guys, you're going to get it. You're going to finally get it in June, and it's going to be announced soon. The announcement, from what I've been told, is imminent. It's a done deal. How do you like that, James?
I mean, imminent. I thought it would, kind of be held off for a couple weeks, as Mr. Spence said. But yeah, pretty much the cat has been, kind of out of the bag. So yeah, I'm just like saying, like, oh my God,
look, dude, honestly, look, James, I'm with you. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, bullshit. And then this gentleman, and you know who I'm talking about, this gentleman said, yes, this is going to happen finally. And I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Yes, guys, it's going to happen. Take it to the bank. Crawford versus Spence is happening in June, guys. And it's going to be announced very, very soon. And Coco the Bulldog, I understand. I'll believe it when I see it.
Right.
Believe it, brother. You're going to see it soon. You're going to see it soon, homie.
But some people...
I think the biggest fight out there for both men, though, to be honest, because the fans were acting really negative to Spence Thurman and Crawford versus Rocha. I mean, no one wants to see that, to be honest. So
no one, dude. No one wants to see that bullshit. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, guys, let's go to our next topic du jour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Benavidez versus Canelo or Morrell Jr. Right? Now, once again, guys, 2 bones to pick I have with Plant versus Benavidez, right? And once again, I can't understand this for the life of me. Why are some people sticking up for the performance of Kenny Bayless on Saturday nights? Why are they insisting to me that, clinching is a part of boxing? Go F yourselves. Guys, there's only one reason why any fighter insists on excessive holding or clinching. It's not a part of boxing. No. There's only one reason why a fighter does it. It's to make up for deficiencies that he has in the ring. Either you're hurt or you can't fight underneath. Take your pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so. Why would anyone insist on sticking up for Kenny Bayless? That was one of the worst performances by a referee since Joe Cortez. Since Joe Cortez and Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Establishment. No, you're right. He's an establishment referee at this point, to be honest. I don't know what he was doing. I think maybe he's past his prime as a ref.
Dude, he's a geezer. Bro. He's 72 years old, guys.
Yeah, he's done, man.
He's 7. So James Gogi, okay, our beloved coach, every Sunday night, 5-decade fight trainer, he let this cat out of the bag. He said, you know what? When I was an amateur fighter, Kenny Bayless was my ref in the amateur tournament, the last one that I was in. How long ago do you think that was?
Yep.
What, 40 plus years ago?
Yes.
They really shouldn't have refs in a combat sport.
This is a guy who has no business being in the center of the ring as part of a big event like this.
Yeah.
Well, some would contend that he shouldn't have been a ref in the ring for a certain fight in the heavyweight division a couple years ago.
Oh, shit. Dude, he sucks ass. Kenny Bayless is, look, and I love Kenny. He's a great guy, and he's a snappy dresser.
Right.
He is. And you've seen him in events outside of the ring.
Yep.
And he always dresses to the nines. He's a very slick guy. But, dude, Stay away from the ring. Stay away. Dude, you have no business being a part of any big event from this point forward. Dude, you suck as a ref now. You're terrible. And once again, it wasn't just allowing the excessive holding. It was breaking up the action prematurely. Not allowing both fighters to work out of a clinch.
Mm-hmm.
That does more. That does just as much harm as allowing the clinch itself. Do you remember the great refs of past? Arthur McCanty Sr., Mills Lane, all those great refs back in yesteryear. They used to slap your hand if you were excessively holding. Hey, don't hold. They used to smack your hand away. And oh my gosh, he loves that shit. Dude, stay away from the sport.
Yeah.
Like dude, from a casual and mainstream fan perspective, nothing turns fans away more than clinching. You might as well ask Vladimir Klitschko to become an active participant again. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I think the promoter should veto him working big events. But it's like I said, he's like a Las Vegas establishment referee.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we might see him for a few more years.
Oh boy.
Yep.
What kind of fees these top refs getting for a big event like Plant versus Benavidez? I guarantee you, at the very least, it was $5,000.
Okay.
At the very least.
He works a lot of big shows. He's probably the top referee in America, I think, right now, because he works all the big events.
Oh, dude, he sucks ass. He sucks ass. Yeah. Now, once again, let's go back to topic, guys. Right? Your thoughts, James, first, and I want to go to you, Jimbo, next. Do you think Benavidez, or I'm sorry, do you think Canelo Alvarez, do you think he thinks the wiser and decides not to pursue a rematch with Dimitri Bivol and goes right into a fight with Benavidez in September? Or does he go through with an unwise rematch with Dimitri Bivol and gets his ass whooped again?
I did have a little, a presentation of sorts on the latest podcast where, I pleaded for Canelo to, not go ahead and have the second fight with Dimitri Bivol and just have the fight against David Benavidez in September. And it was more about, having this particular year in the sport of boxing be probably the greatest year in the sport of boxing. We already know about the fights that have already taken place. Yep. We already know about the fights that are coming up in April and, May. And you talked about what's going to be announced. So why not continue that particular momentum and have Canelo Alvarez face David Benavidez in September? And with that being said, I want it to be enforced that with Canelo fighting Benavidez, then we will finally get Dimitri Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev for undisputed at light heavyweight.
Hell yes!
Woo-hoo! We need that fight. So I know what Samson Lukowicz said in reference to his fighter and everything like that, but for you want to continue this particular momentum and you want the fans to remember this year being the greatest year in boxing that says, hey, we finally got all of these fights that we wanted to see all this year.
Yep. Jimbo, your thoughts, brother. Your thoughts on this entire situation, my friend.
No, I agree with you guys. I think Canelo versus Benavidez is the fight that should happen. It's a big fight in the sport, and I think it'll be a really good action fight as well. But unfortunately, I think Canelo's really dead set on Bivol. I've seen a few of his recent interviews, and he's made it very clear. Yeah, he made it very clear These were the recent interviews for the John Ryder presser, and he said that his next fight, 100%, will be Bivol in September, and that's the only fight he cares about.
You know what? He needs someone to actually talk some sense into him, because he gonna get his ass whooped again.
He said that the loss bothers him, though.
Once again, this is not a good style matchup, and he is a little man for the light heavyweight division. He gonna get his ass whooped again.
And do you know what's even worse, though, Joe? He said he's going back up. He said what's even worse, though, he said that he doesn't want to bring Bivol down to 68 because a lot of people will make excuses.
Well, of course. And once again, this is pride getting the better of him. Okay, he's going to get his ass whooped again if pride insists on rearing its ugly head. Brother, forget about Bivol. I'm going to quote Apollo Creed's trainer from the Rocky movies. Babe, he's all wrong for you. We don't need him. Okay? Stay far away from Dimitri Bivol. He's going to embarrass you once again. And guys, don't be looking at the scorecards, because that made it seem that it was a lot closer than it actually was. He got his ass whooped.
Yeah. It wasn't just that. It was that once you got to a certain point in the fight, whether it was like round 8 or 9, you saw Canelo getting frustrated, and then after that, he pretty much seemed like he gave up.
He packed it in. Now, let me tell you once again, Jimbo. I'm going to start with you first. Who do you favor in Canelo versus Benavidez? If they fought in September, not next year, who do you favor? Canelo versus Benavidez in September of this year.
I have to be honest, Joe. I think Canelo Alvarez would completely destroy David Benavidez.
Whoop his ass.
I think the style is all
ass,
wrong.
Jimbo.
Yeah, he will. That's what I'm telling Canelo. Like, bro, you need to go after that. This kid Benavidez has got a lot of hype.
Fight him now. Fight him now while he still has these flaws, right?
Yeah. Because it's only going to get worse from here. Benavidez keeps getting bigger and stronger, and he's also the younger guy. He keeps improving. And unfortunately for Canelo, he's probably on the decline. I think he's probably peaked as an athlete, if not. So I think this is the big fight. Go out there. If you go out there and you completely destroy Benavidez, which I think he will do, I think he'll knock him out. Man, you got the hype train again. But it's just like you said, Joe. It's the pride, you know. He said the Bivol loss bothers him, and he wants to right that wrong.
James, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Thinking from a boxing perspective or fans perspective and a business perspective, it's much better for Canelo to go after Benavidez here at this particular point. You want to go ahead. You want to defend those super middleweight titles. You want to be the one that hands Benavidez the first loss of his professional career. You want to stop his momentum. Like you said, Joe, even though Benavidez got this win over Caleb Plant, there were, a good amount of moments where you seen that there were still a few things that David Benavidez has to work on, know, and, even though Canelo isn't really that much of a mover, and that Benavidez wouldn't have to really worry about, Canelo being at a, certain spot or moving around the ring. He's going to have to throw, and if, Canelo still has that high guard or the catch and shoot and the catch and counter, and I know that Benavidez loves to fight on the inside, but Canelo also loves to fight on the inside, especially with his limited mobility. And so what you're going to do is you're going to be going up against a fighter that's much shorter, that has that leverage to throw those body shots towards a big target in David Benavidez. So I know that Benavidez wants Canelo. I know that there's a good amount of, demand for that fight. But, right now I'm not, real sold on Benavidez getting Canelo at this particular point.
Look, and from a business perspective, this is a bigger money fight. Than Dimitri Bivol. Much bigger money fight. Brother, while he has the reputation of being the Mexican monster, take this guy on. Whoop his pocket. game. Keep in mind, guys, Canelo Alvarez is a pocket counterpuncher. He's a guy that's not going to go anywhere. Benavidez isn't going to have to chase this guy around the ring, but you're going to have to deal with his defense. You're going to have to deal with his creative body punching, his creative combination punching, his counterpunching ability. And if you think that you've got better reflexes, better speed than Canelo, you're sadly mistaken. Canelo will whoop this boy's ass this year. Okay? Canelo. Okay, if I'm his promoter, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to talk this boy out of fighting Dimitri Bivol again. Why? Because he's the biggest ticket seller you have in the United States, in North America. Okay, who else do you have in this country?
Nobody.
Who else?
Now,
nobody.
No one. No one.
Here's another thing, right? You also have Canelo's guy there in the Canelo team that some people think is the guy that really pushes the buttons for Canelo, and Eddie Reynoso. Like,
oh my gosh, Reynoso, you know what? Talk some sense into your man, okay? Talk some, because Dimitri Bivol is all wrong for you, brother. Okay, David Benavidez, he's the guy that you want right now. And once again, if I'm David Benavidez and Samson Lukowicz, do I want him to like David Morrell Jr. only after 8 fights? Hell no. Guys, there's a reason why David Morrell Jr. bypassed the 4, 6, and 8 round level. And he's already the WBA regular champion at 168 because he's got a deep amateur background. He's an athletic stud in the ring. This guy can do shit that no one else can do at 168. He's a future superstar. Do not tangle with this guy before you fight Canelo.
That's what I'm hearing, though, Joe. There are rumors, apparently, a lot of people have told me that possibly Benavidez and Morocco fight next.
They're idiots. And I'm going to quote Emmanuel Stewart right here, guys. Emmanuel told me before he passed away, he said, you know what? Resumes, records, and trinkets are what fans, boxing writers, and network executives use because they don't quite understand what they're looking at yet in the ring. Yep. Guys, use your eyes. Hey. Dave Morrell Jr. is an effing stud.
Hey, he is an anomaly there at the
that guy is a freak. Position. Like if you're a name at 168, Andrade, okay, Caleb Plant, Dave Benavidez, Jamal Charlo. Now, once again, they're stablemates, so there's no chance of that happening. Both their trainer, they have Ronnie Shield as their trainer, right? But stay far away from Dave Morrell Jr. Let him go up to 175. He only has about 2 or 3 more fights left at 68. He's outgrowing the division. He's still a young man.
He's the youngest out of there. He's the youngest out that group.
There's a reason. There's a reason why he's been taking care of all of Canelo Alvarez's mandatory challengers at this point. Because he's that good. Guys, stay far away from him. If you're David Benavidez, stay far away from David Morrell Jr. This guy is a freak.
Listen,
he's an athletic specimen. He can do shit in the ring that no one else can at 168.
All of those physical advantages that David Benavidez has over the majority of the super middleweight division, he does not have against David Morrell.
Yep.
See, my thing is this, though. I feel like it's not even a big fight, though, necessarily, right? So if Benavidez has got some hype behind him and he just, put on a big show in Vegas on pay-per-view, it is kind of surprising that the PBC will put him in with a danger man like Morrell, who isn't too well known in America and doesn't have the kind of Mexican Latino fan base of a guy like a Benavidez potentially.
Morrell destroy David Benavidez at this time, even after 8 fights. And I know this sounds really difficult to a lot of fanboys, Okay, but guys, trust me. Like, I'm going to bring this up to Ronnie Shields tomorrow on our show, tomorrow night. And you can hear from Ronnie Shields. He loves this fight. He says, bring him on. Bring on the Mexican monster. My Cuban missile would annihilate this guy. He would whoop his ass. He is twice the athletic specimen that David Benavidez is. Okay?
Yeah.
So once again, stay far away from Morrell Jr. Benavidez, fight Canelo. You know what? You should show up in Guadalajara, Cinco de Mayo weekend, be there ringside, be there for the media. Start making that campaign. Okay? Start getting media to bang the drum for you. Okay? Get Canelo off of this Beevil trip, guys, and make that fight for September. And if you fight David Morrell Jr., you're going to regret it. Just ask poor your boss-in-law.
Yeah.
Just ask him.
How much damage would it do to Canelo's commercial value if he loses to Bivol again?
Oh my gosh, it would be catastrophic, guys. People would be calling for his retirement afterwards. As drastically.
Hold on, run that again. Say that again.
People would be calling for his retirement. And once again, not me, but as dramatically as people overreact, okay, to a single win and a single loss, people would be calling for Canelo's retirement. Oh, already they're saying he's slipping. Oh, already he's slipping. Brother, against John Ryder, he's going to look like the stud that we all thought he was. He's going to look like he's in top form, right? Against Beevil, he's going to look like he's stuck in mud once again.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a good year, though, Joe, if he knocks out John Ryder, who's his mandatory in Mexico, big event, come back to Las Vegas, destroy Benavidez.
Yes.
I mean, he'd be on a good little wave.
Dude, let's just be honest. He would win Fighter of the Year. Yep. He would also win Comeback Fighter of the Year.
Yep, 2 defenses against 2 mandatories, top guys. I mean, it's a good look.
Look, guys, I think we're all unanimous here. Guys, one, Canelo, stay away from Beevil. He's all wrong for you. Go, gravitate towards Benavidez. At this juncture in his career, while he still has all the flaws that we saw on Saturday night, you're going to whoop his ass, and you're going to make it look decisive. Right? Okay. And 2, Benavidez, stay far away. Stay far away from David Morrell Jr. This is a guy who you do not want to tangle with. He's like James. The only flaw that I see in Dave Morrell Jr. at this time is he's a little green and he's a little rambunctious. Other than that, look at his footwork. Look at his hand speed. Look at his ability to shift and change direction. This is a guy who can do it all in the center of the ring, and he makes it look easy.
Yeah, and I think Canelo should think about the long term as well, because if Morrell goes out there and destroys Benavidez, and then he'll become his mandatory for 2 different belts, WBA and WBC, that's going to be a harder fight for Canelo still.
So once again, I think we're unanimous, guys. So here's the last topic, guys, and I want to make this short. We're gonna end this show within the next 10-15 minutes. Okay. The price point of Tank versus Garcia. It was just announced today. It's going to be $84.99. Right, 85 Rock. Jimbo. Now, I know you don't have to worry about this because you're not in America.
Yeah, I think we'll get on the zone here in the UK.
That's what I'm saying. And it's not going to be $85 in the UK.
No.
So your thoughts, would you pay for this if you were an American citizen?
I have to be honest, Joe, because I talk to a lot of guys on these American panels and I see what goes on Twitter. And I think the general feeling is the pay-per-view fans are tired of paying for pay-per-view. You know, I just think it's a terrible move, the price point, $85. I just think because of the piracy issues, which are all-time high, because of the poor economy globally, and I think just the slowdown of boxing generally, I just think it's a really bad move. $85 for two dudes that aren't champions.
That
One
seems to
guy's
be the
never fought.
consensus, brother. No, Jimbo,
One guy,
I'm laughing because you know what? You make great points. James?
Ryan's never fought on pay-per-view, and Tank, whenever he does fight on pay-per-view, everyone keeps telling me the numbers are horrible.
They are. They have been. They're not good. James, do you think this is a little too much? And I'll tell you exactly why after you give your answer, give your response. I'll tell you exactly why it's $85. So there goes Jimbo. God bless you, Jimbo. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. It's good talking to you. James?
Well, you talk to the same people that I talk to.
Right? Yep.
And I actually do have a very positive outlook in reference to this event.
Yep. I do as well.
But this particular price point makes it tough.
Yep.
Because it's mainly because for me the audience is not necessarily, the majority is not going to be fight fans. It's going to be people that want to watch events, that would say, hey, okay, that even though people weren't necessarily like gravitated towards Fury versus Wilder too, but the way that they promoted that, it was a very successful event, right?
Yep.
Or like Mayweather fights or something like that, or they're trying to push it like a Jake Paul fight or something like that. But if it's like, this is more towards like a Jake Paul fight than me mentioning Fury versus Wilder. You know what I mean? So it's almost like an event of sorts, not against two fighters that people would say is like evenly matched up. So from our side, it's kind of like it's a detriment, to be honest. But from an event perspective, yeah, I'm seeing it as, let's see how much they can really get for this as an event. But outside of that, I'm not sure.
Well,
I really do want it to be very successful from a pay-per-view overall perspective. But hey, I think, you know what though, I think it's coming off of the success from the box office and how fast those tickets sold.
That's it. And let me just tell you the way it was explained to me why this is at $85, right? And once again, you talk to the same people that I do, right? The way it was explained to me, they're anticipating around between 20 to 25 million worldwide illegally streaming this event. But they're also anticipating and projecting 2 million to purchase this event just in the US alone.
Oh yeah. I've heard that.
Okay, so in essence, what we're getting,
and it's not in that last number that you mentioned did not come from Mr. Golden Boy.
Nope, it didn't. Nope, nope. That's I don't talk to that clown anymore. And once again, I did a lot of work for those guys, but I don't talk to that clown anymore. So you know who I'm talking to,
right?
So once again, so in essence, what you're getting, guys, the people who are going to purchase this event are basically paying for everyone who's going to be illegally streaming this event. That's why the price point was set the way it is. They're anticipating a record illegal streaming audience between 20 and 25 million people worldwide illegally streaming this event.
That's wow. That's more. That would be more than what happened with Mayweather McGregor.
Yep. Now keep in mind, back at that time, illegally streaming the event wasn't nearly the problem that it is now.
Right.
Okay. So once again, think about how many people that is streaming the event, right? illegally streaming the event. Now, if you're PBC, if you're Showtime, think about how much you're going to charge sponsors for this event.
Yeah.
So not only are you taking into consideration the people who are going to be purchasing this event, which is going to be a lot, but you're also going to set that price point for the people who you assume are going to be illegally streaming this, between 20 and 25 million. That means if you're acquiring sponsors, you're taking into consideration all of the people who are going to be illegally streaming this, but putting eyeballs on this event.
Yep.
That's huge. Guys, if you're monetizing through sponsorship, illegal streams now, this could be the future of boxing. That's the way I was told. And I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, that makes sense. So guys, that's why it's $85.
In with what you just said, I mean, they probably, came up front or just said it up front to those sponsors, like, look, this is who's gonna see it, regardless of how they see it. So this is the amount of exposure that you're gonna get. So,
this is a big time event, guys. Whether you like it or not, whether you dismiss this as just two guys who are unproven, guess what? They bring that many eyeballs to the dance. Okay? So like it or not, you may not think this is a super fight, but in every sense of the word, as far as the business is concerned, this is a super fight in every sense, right? You may not like it, but you better learn to love it. Guys, this is going to be a great event. And once again, the brass at Paramount Plus is going to be, hey, maybe there is something to this boxing stuff. And guess what? Boxing fans are the beneficiaries. We're going to end this show with that. James, do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, sir?
No, not necessarily. Outside of check out the channel, Boxing Source. Also posted an interview with Polish heavyweight prospect Damian Neba that will be fighting on April 8th against Curtis Harper. That's going to be on ESPN Plus. So you can catch that. Yes, he is Polish, so he's speaking in Polish. It is interpreted by his interpreter there. But that's like my second interview with Damian Neba, actually. So there you go.
Yeah, James, let me cut you off there. And guys, do yourselves a favor. Go subscribe to Brother James at the Boxing Source. And while you're there, listen to his interview with Jermaine Franklin to get a better idea of what to expect this Saturday. Right? And James, you do a great job, brother. You're a credit to the sport. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And guys, once again, you have every reason to be celebrating the sport of boxing. We're at a great time right now. And just look at the schedule over the next 2 months, right? Just look at this next week. Just look at this upcoming weekend, right? You got Robeisy Ramirez versus Isaac Dogbe. Joet Gonzalez versus Jose Enrique Vivas. That's going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on ESPN Plus. You've got Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. That's a great event. And the following week, you've got Shakur Stevenson versus Yoshino. You've got the return of Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Christian Gonzalez on DAZN. You've got Sebastian Fundora versus Brian Mendoza on Showtime. That's next week, guys. You have every reason to be positive about our beloved boxing. Celebrate it. Don't cry about Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk falling apart. Don't cry about Naoya Inoue getting hurt. Look at the schedule. Okay? There's a reason you should be excited, all of you, about our beloved boxing. It's the greatest sport on the earth. None more honest. We love our beloved boxing. James, you're always a pleasure to share the air with, brother. God bless you, my friend. Guys, on behalf of James from the Boxing Voice, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to WAWR Week Radio. Have a great Monday evening, everybody.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
FightSaga.com presents WAWR Week Radio Chats with boxing scribe Joseph Herron.